In just 3 years, the Ukrainian nonprofit Wild Hornets have already produced innovative and inexpensive drone interceptor systems. Some of their drones include the first-person view, or FPV, bomber, the Hornet Queen, and high-speed Sting drone, something that could change the game in the U.S.'s involvement in Iran. Here to discuss it, spokesman of Wild Hornets, Alex Roslin. Alex, thank you for coming on. We've seen a lot about this, and particularly that high-speed Sting drone is something that could be a game changer in the U.S.'s involvement in Iran. Talk to us about what's so significant about them and how they work.
Well, these drones have already changed the game. They've changed warfare completely. Now the rest of the world is starting to wake up to the kind of terrorism that Russia and its best friend Iran have been perpetrating in Ukraine for 4 years now, terrorizing, killing Ukrainians, murdering Ukrainian civilians every day. Just actually in the last 24 hours, there was a massive attack with 400 Shahed drones, Shahed-type drones supplied by Iran or designed by Iran. The same kinds of drones that are murdering people and terrorizing community civilians in the Middle East. That's what we've been facing in Ukraine. So these Sting drones are super inexpensive, but they're even more importantly, they're super high quality. We have about 80 to 90% success rate. When we launch one, 80 to 90% of the time, it knocks down a Shahed. And that's actually very challenging to do, as now we're seeing in the Mideast, and also when Shaheds have been launched into NATO countries like Poland. They've had a lot of trouble knocking them down, and when they do, it's often with $1 million Sidewinder missiles or $4 million Patriot missiles, and our drones cost as little as $1,350.
So literally for $2,000, as opposed to hundreds of thousands, if not millions, this is a very economic way for the U.S. But I think what's really unique about it is that you learned from the battlefield in Ukraine that we could use in the case of when the Iranian drones, of which are not running any shortage of supply on, these little Stingers, the one behind you there, I believe is one, you can just put it up in the air, it goes 200 miles, quickly escalates, and with a skilled operator can take it out.
That's right. Yeah, within 10 to 20 kilometers range. But we've had some Stings that can fly as far as 23 miles, actually. And they can fly up to 5 kilometers in altitude. So that's why they're very effective. And Ukraine actually had to develop this. Unfortunately, we didn't have a choice. It's not like we tried to, become some kind of the drone leaders in the world, which we actually became in just 3 short years, or 4 short years of the full-scale war, I should say. But it's an existential crisis. And we, as much as Ukrainians got a lot of aid from various countries, the United States as well, we're very grateful for that. Ukrainians are constantly saying thank you to all the countries in the world that have helped us. It just wasn't enough. We're fighting a superpower, and Ukraine had a military budget lower than the New York police departments before the full-scale war. So we had to fight smart. We had to use cost-effective means, and I think this shows an example to the world. It's part of a larger air defense system. We have other kinds of air defense from the Allies, but this is a Ukrainian solution, and now it's knocking down. Well, our drones are the top interceptor drones in Ukraine. In February, they knocked down 30% of all the drones knocked down by Ukraine. And actually, a lot of them are funded by donations. And that's how we started out, as a charitable fund. But we've now, received a lot of contracts from the Ukrainian government.
It's certainly technology on the battlefield that has been proven. And Alex Roslin with Wild Hornets, thank you for coming on and explaining it to us. We've got to leave it there. Have a good weekend.
Thank you so much. Slava Ukraini.
All right, all right.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.